In 326 BCE, the most formidable military machine of the ancient world hit a wall. Alexander the Great's battle-hardened Macedonian army, which had relentlessly carved its way across continents, suddenly stopped at the edges of the Indus River Valley. The breaking point was the Beas River. Exhausted from years of continuous warfare and daunted by the geography ahead, the Macedonian soldiers mutinied. They outright refused their commander's orders to march any further east. This map highlights the primary reason for their terror. Just across the river lay the borders of the Magadhan state, then ruled by the Nanda dynasty. This massive empire stood as a highly organized, impenetrable deterrent. This animated diagram compares the Nanda military's reported troop numbers against standard ancient armies. Greek historians documented a standing force of 200,000 infantry, 60,000 cavalry, and up to 6,000 war elephants. These numbers dwarfed the forces Alexander had faced in Persia. Maintaining a force of this size requires a massive bureaucratic effort, tracking the daily fodder for 6,000 elephants and managing the supply lines for hundreds of thousands of active troops across thousands of miles. Alexander's forces were repelled by the terrifying, invisible logistical machinery of the Nanda state. The Nanda military and economic machine required a complex written script to function, yet we have no physical records of writing from their era. The earliest physical evidence we have of the Brahmi script looks like this. These are the edicts of Emperor Ashoka, carved into rock faces across the subcontinent in the 3rd century BCE, nearly a century after the Nanda dynasty. This gap in the physical record has led to a common belief that ancient Indian empires prior to Ashoka functioned entirely on oral tradition. While memory is effective for preserving religious hymns, using it to manage continent-scale taxation and coordinate thousands of daily military movements stretches the limits of human cognition. The Nanda Empire's ability to maintain its borders suggests the existence of a mature, functional writing system long before the time of Ashoka. The Brahmi script acted as the hidden administrative engine for the Nanda state, serving as the deterrent that ultimately halted the Macedonian advance. To find the origins of this system, we have to look back over 2 centuries to 516 BCE, focusing on the northwestern frontier of the Indian subcontinent. This map outlines the specific territory west of the Indus River, annexed by the Persian ruler Darius I, encompassing parts of modern-day Sindh and Punjab. This newly conquered territory was converted into the 20th province, or satrapy, of the vast Achaemenid Empire. A satrapy functioned as a localized, governor-led administrative unit. This was a novel tool in the region, designed specifically for extracting revenue and controlling vast, disparate territories from a central authority. As illustrated in this stone relief carving, Persian statecraft was highly centralized and strictly hierarchical. Managing 28 such provinces required a synchronized bureaucracy. To standardize this bureaucracy, the empire mandated Aramaic as the official administrative written language across all its territories. This macro photograph details the physical structure of Aramaic characters. Administrators and clerks brought this exact script directly into the Indus Valley to manage the new province. Along with the script, the Persians introduced standardized minted silver coins, providing a stable medium of exchange essential for large-scale economic control and taxation. They also implemented an imperial postal relay system, constructing dedicated roads to ensure rapid communication between the Indus Valley and the Persian capital. Concurrently, Indian subjects living in the satrapy were actively enrolled into the highly organized Iranian military structure, exposing them directly to foreign logistical methods. The foundational technologies of Indian imperial statecraft were imported blueprints brought over the Hindu Kush by the Achaemenid Empire. The city of Taxila, widely known as Taxila, sat directly on the border of this Persian influence. It operated as a critical crossroads where merchants, foreign officials, and scholars constantly converged. At the university in Taxila, elite Indian scholars, most notably the grammarian Panini and the strategist Kautilya, interacted directly with these foreign administrative and linguistic frameworks. Local populations took the structural logic of Persian Aramaic and adapted it into the regional Kharoshthi script, which was written from right to left. Scholars eventually synthesized the Brahmi script, designing it specifically to accommodate the complex phonetic structures of Sanskrit and Prakrit. The intellectual output of this period was staggering. Kautilya authored the Arthashastra, which codified everything from tax structures to military formations, providing clear evidence that sophisticated statecraft was being actively theorized. Looking at this sketch map of ancient trade routes, we can see how this intellectual technology traveled from the borderlands to the eastern kings. The administrative system flowed straight down the Uttarapat highway, directly connecting Takshashila with Pataliputra, capital of the Nanda Empire. The Nanda dynasty utilized the written script and bureaucratic statecraft perfected in Takshashila to manage their massive military expansion. In 321 BCE, Chandragupta Maurya successfully overthrew the Nanda dynasty. He absorbed their entire established state apparatus, including its tax collection infrastructure and military records. Chandragupta then marched west, defeating the remaining Greek outposts left behind by Alexander, and unifying the northern subcontinent under a single authority. The expanding Mauryan machine inherited the Brahmi administrative system from the Nandas, utilizing it to govern a growing population. The sophistication of this bureaucracy was recognized internationally. The Mauryans maintained regular diplomatic exchanges with the Hellenistic Seleucid Empire, receiving ambassadors like Megasthenes at the royal court in Pataliputra. By the time Emperor Ashoka took the throne in 268 BCE, he inherited an optimized continent-spanning administration that had been running for decades. This map illustrates the sheer geographic scale of the empire Ashoka commanded, stretching from modern Iran into the southern Indian peninsula. Ashoka's innovation was the public use of this system. He took a script previously reserved for internal records and carved it into rock faces. Ashoka repurposed an existing administrative tool into a system of mass public communication. The centralized power of the Mauryan Empire eventually collapsed, fracturing the subcontinent back into smaller principalities, but the administrative technology of the Brahmi script survived. As shown in this diagram, Brahmi became the foundational code for almost all subsequent South Asian writing systems, sitting firmly at the origin point. When central authorities declined, the script branched out. It evolved into distinct northern and southern scripts, including Tamil, Telugu, and Bengali. Even without a unified government, local populations needed to conduct trade, collect taxes, and run regional courts. The daily needs of administration forced these new regional scripts to develop and thrive. The grand geopolitical ambitions of rulers like Darius and Alexander ultimately faded from the region, leaving behind an unexpected legacy. The Iranian and Macedonian invasions failed to permanently conquer the subcontinent, but by forcing political consolidation and introducing foreign bureaucratic concepts, they provided the exact administrative tools required to forge ancient India's greatest empires.